America, it's time for some straight talk. You love your phone. Look at you. You hardly put it down. But you don't love that expensive wireless plan, do you? So what if I told you can keep that phone network and number 2 for a lot less? Well, this is me telling you. It's time to switch to Straight Talk, guys. Bring your own phone and get unlimited plans starting at just $45 a month on America's largest, most dependable 4G LTE networks. Straight Talk Wireless. Only at Walmart.
Savings may vary. Please refer always to the latest terms and conditions of service at straighttalk.com.
Good morning. We are back and better than ever, and we are already judging the wardrobe of Jay Cutler on his first day in Miami. Glad you've chosen to start your day with Mike and Mike, presented by Progressive Insurance. Our guests on the Shell Pinto Performance Line. NFL preseason around the corner in earnest. Feels like teams are sort of tidying up before the dinner party begins. You got odds and loose ends being tied up, a little dirty laundry being aired, and really big decisions about to be made. So it is a football day through and through, big fella. Nothing
football.
but football.
I thought when you said big decisions, obviously I thought you were talking about The Bachelorette last night. The Bachelorette finale was last night, and it was hot trash.
There seems to be extraordinary disappointment.
Come on. 3 guys left, Brian, Peter, and Eric. Eric got the early hook out of the live finale. Rachel, kissed him goodbye. He was gone, of course, through tears and the whole deal. I quickly proclaimed Peter was going to be the winner because Peter should have been the winner. But here's the kicker. Peter didn't want to get married. She wanted to get married. She wanted the engagement. Peter didn't want it. Peter said, let's date. She didn't want to date. She wanted to get married. So Brian ends up being like, most colleges now that take the 3rd or 4th choice. Okay? Brian wasn't the first choice. He won. They'll break up soon, and she'll probably be dating Peter again. Rachel, who everybody loved, and I can go to Andrea on this because she's a freak on this show, I think people started disliking Rachel by the end of this thing. Because God forbid, after 3 months, somebody doesn't want to actually get married. They want to actually continue a relationship and see if anything grows from it. But Rachel wants, put a ring on it. You know what I'm talking about? Put a ring on the finger here. And Peter said, no, I don't want to. So she said, sorry, can't pick you.
I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know exactly what it says about us as a society that we pay so much attention to these shows. It's interesting.
The ratings are monstrous on this thing.
Believe me, I know. Everyone is talking about it. It goes crazy on social while it's actually happening. I did not see 1 second, literally 1 second. If you showed me a picture of the Bachelorette.
Yeah.
Rachel? I couldn't have told you her name until you just said it.
Extremely pretty young lady.
I couldn't identify her.
But extremely.
Show me 3 pictures of 3 different women. I will not be able to tell you which one
everybody
is
liked
Rachel.
her. Andrea, can she get on the mic there? Everybody liked Rachel, but at the end, she wasn't liked very well, was she?
No, because she settled.
There you go.
What does that mean exactly?
She settled.
It's a dating show.
She wanted the ring, and she was going to take nothing else but a ring.
And Peter was her favorite, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. She cried for Peter. She wanted him so bad, and he wasn't going to propose, so she picked somebody else.
There you go. She settled. Peter was there, said, let's just date. Let's get to know each other for more than 3 months and a couple of one-on-one dates, one of which is an overnight date, if you know what I'm talking about. And all of a sudden, she wants the ring on, and he wants a little more time to get to know her. Is that wrong?
No, I don't think so.
That's not wrong.
Seems logical
at
to me.
all. So, Brian's a winner. Good luck on that 1 week dating you're going to do with Rachel before you guys bust up.
My goodness.
Yeah.
And yet this is what everyone is paying attention to, right? I'm just missing out.
And I was watching it kind of on the fringe. I'm not into it this year. Chris, my wife, Sydney, they were tweeting last night. Mike's in Europe. Mike's in Amsterdam, so he usually tweets about it.
Now, he's got all kinds of other bachelorette considerations going
exactly
on.
Exactly right. He didn't need to worry about that show.
He's in Amsterdam, yeah.
So, yeah, everybody's into it. And with social media, I mean, it is to the second things are happening. It's incredible. So you mentioned in the open big decisions. That was the big decisions last night, and Rachel blew it.
I guess that got made last night. Yes, Bachelorette finale is the number 2 trending topic on Twitter, even now, behind hashtag my 4-word obituary.
My 4-word obituary?
That's what's the number 1 trending topic in the U.S. right now.
Cool.
I see Rachel here now. As I just opened up Twitter. She's very pretty. I agree. I don't know anything about this, so I'm going to have to just leave it to you for all of you tell me, have we done enough Bachelorette at this point, or do we need a little more insight?
We did it here.
Do we need a guest on this?
No. We could touch. Andrea would be our guest on it because she is either that or my wife or my daughter, one of the two who's into it like that. We can maybe touch on it again. But what was trending number 1?
Hashtag my 4-word obituary.
8, too many donuts.
That's it.
How about that?
And you got it all covered. We got the top 2 trending topics on Twitter working for you. Now let's go off the top and see what's going on sports. And it starts with Mike Trout, who celebrated his 26th birthday with his 1,000th career base hit. It came in a loss to the Orioles, but still, Trout's numbers remarkable.
Yeah, just incredible what he has done. How about this? Hit number 1,001 was his 4th home run on his birthday. That's pretty impressive as well. The most by any player in baseball history by 26. A-Rod is the only other player all time to hit a home run on 4 different birthdays. He hit his 4th on his 29th. And as we said, Mike Trout did it on his 26th. The dude is just incredible.
He's not the only one.
No.
With a milestone last night, the player against whom I think he will always be judged, Bryce Harper, hit his 150th career home run.
He was 24 years, 295 days on Monday yesterday when he hit the 150th career home run. How about this? It's the exact same age to the day that birthday boy Mike Trout was when he hit his 150th career home run back in May 28, 2016 off Dallas Keuchel. So these two guys are the two of the best players in the game, 2 of the youngest players in the game. And by the way, Bryce Harper is putting up numbers equal to or better than his MVP season in 2015.
Meanwhile, speaking of numbers, equal to or better, or maybe worse than anything you could ever imagine.
Yeah.
The New York Football Jets, as the season gets set to begin, to say they have very little talent on the offensive side of the ball would be a very kind way of putting it. Quincy Enunwa was pretty much their only receiver, the only one of any accomplishment whatsoever on their team, and sort of an emerging good player. He's gone on IR with a neck injury. He is not going to play the entire season. I'm speechless. Mike, I actually looked it up last night. The record for fewest points scored by a team in a 16-game season is 140, set by the Seahawks in 1992. I genuinely believe that record is in jeopardy of falling this year. How are the Jets going to score points?
I don't know. He's the only Jets receiver on the roster.
Stop there. Stop. You can end the sentence right there.
With 1,000.
You don't even need to qualify it. He was the only Jets receiver on the roster.
I have another fun note for you, too, about the quarterback. But he's the only Jets receiver on the roster with 1,000 career receiving yards. Next closest, Marquise Wilson, with 777. It's going to be bad, and
what's the quarterback now? Let's have some fun with that one, too.
Did you hear with Christian Hackenberg what happened on the practice field?
You know, you start that like it almost sounds like you're about to say, did you hear the one about the priest and the rabbi who walk into the bar? Yes, I did. I read it in Peter King's thing.
He broke the huddle, didn't break the huddle correctly. Remember, he's the quarterback. He breaks the huddle.
Right.
Didn't break it correctly, got to the line, and as happens, sent back to the huddle to re-break the huddle again correctly. He broke the huddle again incorrectly and was sent off the field. You can't make this up.
The Jets have a quarterback who didn't make it to the line of scrimmage in practice
2 times and got sent off the field.
And their only receiver of note is out for the season before the first preseason game begins. My goodness, can we just hit the fast forward button on this year? Elsewhere, Brandon Albert wants to unretire, and the Jaguars may not let him. Can you explain this one? It's sort of a complicated story.
Yeah, he was traded from Miami to Jacksonville in March for a 7th-round pick. He has 2 years left on his deal. He never went to the off-season program, not to the minicamp, was there for just a bit of camp. The first day he was out with the first team. After that day, Cam Robinson, who was the 34th pick in the draft, the tackle from Alabama, had taken over the number 1 spot. And then he retired. He retired July 31st, just 3 days into training camp, said he was going to go, through his business interests and such, and now wants to come back. So it doesn't look like Jacksonville wants him back. None of his money is guaranteed. He wanted a new deal, and Jacksonville, they said, we're not redoing your deal. You have 2 years left. He's supposed to make 8.8 this year and 9.5 next year. None of that is guaranteed. So he walked, didn't get another deal, walked for a week, now wants to come back, and it doesn't look like that they're going to have anything to do with that. So if they don't want him, I mean, he's there. he's with them right now. They would have to release him or whatever would happen at this point.
They can't just ban him from playing in the NFL.
No.
He can come back and play for them. They can levy whatever sort of punishment they feel due based upon his having left camp, or they can cut him.
Yeah, because I listen. There's even part of this I don't get, because he walked away to retire, but you do have to fill out retirement papers. He didn't do that.
That's what I mean.
So he just left for a week. So, how in limbo is he? Bottom line is he wants to come back. He was a left tackle traded from Miami. He's missed 20 games in the last 5 years, and it doesn't look like that Jacksonville wants him back. Shefty will be on later, and he'll explain some of the ins and outs of this.
And he'll also explain, hopefully, where the NFL is on its investigation into the situation with Zeke Elliott. Cowboys Executive Vice President Stephen Jones, in what I think were very reasonable comments. Like if you just look at the headline, it's another example, Mike, you brought this up, I remember one day recently. The headline sometimes totally misleads you. Mm-hmm. The headline makes it sound like Stephen Jones blasted the NFL because this investigation is taking so long into figuring out whether or not there's going to be discipline for Zeke Elliott. His comments are actually very reasonable and measured. Yeah. But he does say, now that we have our own investigation, we need to move it along a little faster.
Yeah, and again, it was a committee for the NFL that was looking into this and doing the investigation. Then they'll take their findings to Roger Goodell, and he'll be the ultimate decision maker on this. But it's a committee that's handling this investigation. It does seem like it's lasting a long time. I don't know all the ins and outs of it, but I don't blame the Cowboys. Now, again, he could be suspended today, but he can still play through the preseason.
Right.
None of that happens till the regular season. So the actual effect of it isn't until the regular season, but I don't blame them for wanting to know what the hell's going on.
Yeah, it doesn't probably impact anything, actually.
No, it really doesn't, but it is a while, and it's just kind of hanging there.
It is.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say was, if you thought he might get suspended for 12 games, then they might have to make some roster adjustment.
Right.
Everyone knows at maximum it'll be 2 games.
Exactly.
They're not going to have to do anything.
You're absolutely right. So most likely 1, I think 2 at the most, if he's suspended at all. So we'll see, but I do agree with him that I thought this would be done at a more rapid pace.
All right, and that is Off the Top with Mike and Mike. We're presented by Progressive Insurance. You could save hundreds on your car, your business, or your recreational vehicle insurance from a local independent agent. Go to Progressive.com today. Now that's Progressive.
This could be a point, and last week when Booger was filling in on the show, he did suggest maybe the NFL was waiting until after Jerry Jones' Hall of Fame induction and all of that. The whole team was there at that. They played in the Hall of Fame game. I have no idea if that's true or not. Maybe it is, and maybe that's a good thing, but I don't know. We don't know if that's true, but it certainly, if they were, would be, I guess, deemed a good thing to wait and not have that, right there. Though, like you said, it's only going to be a game or two, so I think even when the news hits, it's not going to be some devastating news.
The thing about that one is, what they're taking into account, I assume, is, A, they're investigating the specific allegations involved with the domestic violence. That's obviously by far the most important thing. But there are also a variety of other little examples that we've seen over the course of time of bad judgment, just flat-out bad judgment on the part of Zeke Elliott. And maybe they're getting some information on those as well and figuring out how, if at all, they're going to factor into their ultimate decision with Zeke Elliott. One way or another, I think it's the likeliest scenarios that he winds up being suspended for the first game of the season, and that gets announced very soon.
Yep.
Adam Schefter will be in, as you mentioned, Mike, this morning live, and he will give us the very latest, 9:30 Eastern for Schefty in studio.
I guess one note we could add to that, as far as what Zeke Elliott is up, is we just talked about Jay Cutler. We're going to more, and here's some sound, but his top receiver, Jarvis Landry, is under investigation now for possible domestic violence with his girlfriend. His girlfriend, by the way, says we had a screaming match and nothing. There was no criminal nothing. There was no physical harm, nothing. She said nothing happened outside of a screaming
Her very
match.
strongly worded statement defends him and supports him and says they're raising their child together.
Exactly.
Basically, paraphrasing it, she says that they got into a very loud shouting match that caused someone else to call 911.
Exactly. So, this is going on right now. He is definitely their best receiver. They have been in the news, obviously, with Jay Cutler signing, so we'll see where this investigation goes.
All right, so all of that as we begin today. And now let's hear a little bit from Jay Cutler. I have 2 Cutler sound bites as he was introduced yesterday as the new quarterback for the Miami Dolphins. 2 that I want you to hear. The first of which is, I think this makes sense. Now, look, Cutler is an easy target. He's made himself an easy target over the years with some of the ways he's handled himself, and that's fine. But the reality is, the way this thing played out, I think, is very reasonable. I think he did not see a situation. The season came to an end. The Bears made no secret they didn't want him anymore. And why would he want to go back there anyway? He has enough money to retire if he wants to. He had a nice broadcasting gig sitting there waiting for him if he wanted to. Yep. So he was content with that. And if a really good, like borderline perfect situation just fell into his lap, he would listen. And as you'll hear him say in this soundbite, that's basically what happened. If you look at the way the stars aligned, you called it yesterday a perfect storm. They did. And so he came back, and I think it's a perfectly reasonable way of looking at it. Here was Cutler yesterday.
A situation like this, I mean, just doesn't come along very often. I mean, I know Adam very well. I've known him since '06, the first year I came out. I know the system. You're talking about a playoff team with a lot of really, really good football players, a lot of potential. So it was one of those things that there weren't a lot of opportunities or jobs out there. If they would have came up, I would have taken. But this has got to be the top of the list.
I don't think there's any doubt it was the top of the list. The situation couldn't have fallen to him any better if there was an inkling of still playing. Because he's right. There weren't going to be opportunities, especially maybe opportunities he even wanted, or quite honestly, even if he didn't want just to see an opportunity, they weren't going to be there. But this, you want to call it desperation, you want to call it whatever you want to call it. To me, it was the right move. Get the guy that knows the system, get the guy that had the least amount of turnovers when I coached him, and see what we can do.
Herman Edwards, for those of you who weren't with us late in the show yesterday, Herman Edwards said, here's the advantage Jay Cutler has over anyone else that was an option. And when you're looking for a quarterback in August, you're not shopping at Hermes, right? You're shopping in the discount places. The advantage he has over anybody else is he walks in there able to call a play day one. And that makes a difference when it's already August, what is today, 8th.
Yeah.
It's already, it's not July 8th, it's not March 8th, it's August 8th. So there's a game Thursday, he won't play in it, by the way, and the regular season is a month away. So the fact that he walks in there and can at least get into the huddle, unlike Christian Hackenberg, break the huddle and call a play is a huge advantage when you're dealing with where we are.
It is. You're past the point of teaching a new system and a different quarterback learning a new language. So you're beyond that. You can get the good reps in with receivers, and you can get a rhythm going with that offense. That name of the store that you said, would it have any? What was it?
Hermes.
Would it have anything that fits me?
Not a lot. Although, tell everyone what you told me yesterday. Yesterday, at one point during the show, I complimented Golick on the shirt that he was wearing. I really liked the shirt you were wearing. Turns out it was an Under Armour shirt, which
it was.
It looked dressier than what I would normally associate. I associate, and I love Under Armour, but I associate them usually, of course, with athletic wear.
Yes.
That was sort of a dressier look. But it was a very nice blue and a little pocket. I really liked it. Yeah. And what did you tell me about your sizing?
I said I'm down to an XL now. I'm about 240 pounds, 238, 240, what I was in high school, and I'm down wearing XL stuff now.
It's unbelievable because it used to be the 2Xs were too small on you.
Yeah, they were.
You couldn't wear a 2X. He's gotten down to an XL, which means in some things, you and I wear the same size.
Yeah.
In some brands, I wear an XL. And so the answer to the question, does Hermes? No. They make things generally for Europeans who are just cut smaller than us.
You took me somewhere? Remember the first time we went to Houston for the Super Bowl at the Galleria Mall? You took me somewhere in there. Some hoity-toity place that had nothing that could fit me. I forgot what it was.
It might have been like the Prada store or something. I have no idea. I don't remember which brand.
But nothing fit me, and everything was over $1,000.
Right.
So I was happy nothing fit me. So unless you were going to buy it for me.
What store was that?
I don't know, but I wasn't in there long.
Whatever it was, you're right.
It was wee clothes for wee people.
And that's exactly where they're not shopping right now, the Dolphins. But yes, I do remember that happening, and now I can't remember what store he went into. Either way. The point is, Cutler's got a shirt that fit awfully tight, and they were shopping in the only area they had available to them, and it worked out. Now, the other thing is, Cutler comes back, and everyone was making jokes about what kind of shape he's in, how much working out has he been done, and boy, did he give a classic answer to that.
Well, the good thing is I play quarterback, so I don't really have to be in that great of cardiovascular shape. But I'll be fine. Adam knows kind of what I've been up to, so we'll figure it out along the way.
He's been up to nothing, but I mean, I said that exact thing yesterday, and I was trying to say it in a nice way. I don't want to sit there and say, they can just be, smoking a pack a day and just walk onto the field and be able to play while doing nothing.
Right.
I'm not saying that, but he said it, and he's right. They don't have to be in the type of shape that a cornerback or a D end, a rush end, or a linebacker or a wide receiver has to be in. He understands that, and it's going to be a matter of, and I heard Adam Gase saying they're definitely in practice going to have a bit of a pitch count until his arm gets warmed up and gets used to throwing again. But, yeah, cardiovascularly, it's not like, he needs to be, Usain Bolt here.
He is a good athletic quarterback. Like I heard some people saying yesterday, he's not a running quarterback. He's not a running quarterback in the way that
he's
someone like Russell Wilson is.
He's an escaping
and he throws on the run. That's probably his best thing.
Listen, it's because he had to do it at Vanderbilt almost from day one there. He had to run, get out of the way of rushers, and he became such an excellent thrower on the run. So, yes, he escapes well, but he wants to make the play behind the line of scrimmage.
Correct. He'll run to throw. He's running around back there to throw the ball, sometimes to his enormous detriment.
Yeah.
Because he winds up throwing it to guys in the other color jersey. But he is a guy who will run around back there. So I thought it was hilarious that he said that.
I listened to the whole thing, and when they showed it live, and it was all fine. I thought he answered everything extremely well. He got everything thrown at him. He did say it was his wife, Kristen Cavallari, who basically said, yeah, go back.
Right.
He thought she was kind of sick of having him around as much as she did.
Yeah, I have that soundbite too. Here's the thing. I heard people yesterday when they saw someone, I don't know who is it, first put it up, that his salary at Fox would have been $450,000 and he's getting $10 million. Yeah, of course. I mean, obviously.
Money can talk.
Yeah, sure. That's a factor in this. But this wasn't the only team that at any point along the way was going to want him and was going to pay him more than he was going to make in broadcasting.
Yeah.
So he came back for I don't know that someone was offering him $10 million during free agency, but certainly someone would have offered him millions of dollars to come in and compete for their quarterback job.
Yes.
I think people, and look, again, he's a bit of a punching bag, and he has made that bed himself, and that just is what it is. But the reality is there's nothing about this that you need to attach anything to. Like, it all just kind of came about reasonably.
It absolutely
quarterback
did.
got hurt, perfect situation. He came back, done.
And if the reports are true and said he was still leaning to broadcasting and leverage for more money, then that's negotiating. There's nothing wrong with doing that at all.
Home isn't just a place. It's a feeling. Whether you're at home, your business, or online, ADT helps keep you safe. With security systems, home automation, alarms, and surveillance, so you can feel at home wherever you are. Go to ADT.com to get that feeling. ADT. Home. Safe home.
Hey everyone, Mike Golick here. Support for the Mike and Mike podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you're confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you that same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. Rocket Mortgage is simple, allowing you to fully understand all the details and be confident you're getting the right mortgage for you. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Mikes. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLS, consumeraccess.org number 3030.
Twitter reaction, 1-800-Flowers.com Twitter feed. Jay tweets, the only thing that fits me in Prada is the cologne. I just remembered, by the way, I think it was Cartier that we went into.
You think?
Is that possible?
Could
was
be.
it mostly jewelry, or was it clothing?
No, it was clothes. It was clothes that I was looking at, and the double X was like a schmedium.
Yeah, the European cut is very narrow.
Yeah.
So even though you've lost a lot of weight,
I still wouldn't.
And are now wearing an XL in American sizes.
Wouldn't really. I'd need like a 4XL in that store.
I'd like to see what color, what cut of sport jacket you would be able to wear there. It would be. They're very slimming.
Yeah.
And you've lost a lot of weight.
Be like a fat guy in a little coat.
You would be like that in their largest size.
Yeah.
Michael tweets, Cutler, lots of weapons and the coach he wants. The season that can turn his legacy around if he can finally meet expectations. That's right. I think that's exactly right. And I think people have discounted the idea that might happen.
They have. I think everybody wants to start with, let's see how this first works out. You just went through an off season where nobody really, your phone really didn't ring. So you got to offer to do broadcasting. You decided to go down that road. And then this situation kind of arose, and it worked out for you. Again, it was the perfect storm. So I think people might be taking their time with this and say, let's see how it goes. Let's see what happens with the team, and then we'll go with the whole legacy thing down the road.
Where am I? Jay tweets, doesn't this Cutler story sound a lot like the Phil Jackson story? Retired cranky men who got offered too much money to turn down.
That's what I had said when he signed. I said, who was the last guy that was money whipped? And I'm sure there's others that have been, but most notable is Phil Jackson. He got talked into this thing, got throwing money at him, and we see what happened there. And I did bring that up. Did he really want to come back, or did he get enough money offered that says, you know what, I can't turn this down and I'm going to come back? And, as far as the want to side of it, obviously we'll find out.
I find this funny. Belinda Dawson tweets, Golick is preaching truth about the Bachelorette finale, choosing Brian by default.
It's just the wrong thing to do. Again, Rachel wanted Peter to propose. Peter was her favorite. Peter, after a few months of, dating with 50 other guys and such, said, you know what, why don't we take a little more time before we lock this thing down? And Rachel wanted to wanted a ring on it. So that's on her. Rachel was kind of a favorite going in. I mean, she's a pretty girl. Everybody liked her. But, man, she didn't do herself any favors at the end of this one.
And finally, Nick Delahanty tweets a question that I'm sure many are wondering, and he uses the hashtag Jets fan problems. How does a quarterback not break the huddle correctly? What exactly does that mean? Like, I read it yesterday, and I didn't acknowledge that in my own mind. I didn't know exactly what it meant. I'm assuming it meant something about the way he called the play, right?
I'm assuming that as well. Again,
it's not just clapping your hands and walking to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
There's really no secret to that.
You're not walking well. Get back in the huddle. No, there's obviously something that he didn't do, and he didn't do it twice to the point of then getting sent off the field. So I don't know. Listen, I was on the defensive side of the ball where we rarely have ever huddled. We just got the call, and there was really nothing, not a whole lot to it. Where in offense, you don't see a huddle a lot, but every now and then you are going to huddle up. So I guess that's what makes this so kind of chuckling, to the fact that this happened in the NFL, and it happened to your team, the Jets, and it happened to a quarterback who they didn't deem even ready to get any type of playing time last year after spending a second-round pick on him.
So Peter King, who's the one who wrote this, will join us off the top of the next hour. So in a half hour, he'll explain it. I'll just read you specifically what he wrote. He wrote, on Monday at Jets camp, Christian Hackenberg was having trouble just breaking the huddle correctly. During one rep in 7-on-7 drills, as he approached the line of scrimmage, a coach ordered him to re-huddle. When he broke the huddle again in the wrong fashion for a second time, he was ordered off the field.
So this is 7-on-7. It's not even team. This is.
But what exactly does breaking the huddle incorrectly mean?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I have seen offensive huddles for not enough enthusiasm with their clap, and kind of jogging to the line back when that was done, to say get back in the huddle and come out like you mean it, and that type of thing. But this one, it seems specifically to be on him, the quarterback, and breaking a 7-on-7 huddle, not a team huddle. And I'm
going to say this.
I don't know.
I remember having this conversation many, many years ago when Quincy Carter, who had played his entire career in the shotgun in college, was having trouble taking the snap.
Right.
And this is maybe our first year together. I said, I feel pretty comfortable saying I could take a snap. And we wound up acting out a snap where you snapped
the ball to you.
I didn't love it.
No, you didn't nestle well.
There was you were in a pair of jeans and you got to kind of nestle up in there.
You got to.
I didn't love it. But I emerged confident I could do it.
Yeah.
I could take a snap. I believe, and I'm the least athletic person you've never, ever, ever heard me say, I could do what these guys can't do. I can't do any of it.
No.
I could break the huddle. I'm almost positive I could break the huddle. I could say, Z29 for XY right, spider Y banana, break, clap my hands, get up off my knee, and walk to the line of scrimmage. I think I could do that.
Yeah.
So I don't know exactly what it is he's not doing right.
I don't know. I honestly do not know.
Can I read you a tweet yesterday?
Because I've rarely seen that, if ever, in a 7-on-7 drill.
Bill Barnwell from ESPN.com, who, by the way, ranked the Jets' skill position players dead last in the league before the Quincy Enunwa injury. So they've lost their best offensive skill position player. And they were already the worst in the league at offensive skill before him.
A re-ranking would have them 28th in college football.
Exactly. They would. Right. There are multiple college teams that are better. He tweeted something yesterday that actually made me laugh out loud. And I clicked away from it. So let me read it. I want to read it exactly correctly because you saw the news yesterday. It made me laugh out loud. He tweeted, "It's just bad timing. for Vince Wilfork to retire today, given that he would currently be the Jets' top receiver.
Oh,
I thought that was. It actually made me laugh when I read it. It was so funny, and that's
mean.
Just how sad.
That's mean.
Things are going to be. And when I said an all-time record could be in serious jeopardy, the all-time record for fewest points scored in a 16-game season is 140. Now that's ridiculously few points. It was a record set by the 92 Seahawks, who, by the way, had a top 5 defense and the defensive player of the year that year. So people were tweeting at me yesterday when I tweeted this that team kept games low scoring.
By the way, that's under 9 points a game. It's what, about 8-8?
I didn't do the math. I mean, it's 8.75 points per game. Yeah,
right.
So it's ridiculously few. You got to get shut out a couple of times to wind up there, because the numbers count. If you intercept the pass and run it back for a touchdown, that counts towards points scored. Yeah. So I think that could be in jeopardy. I genuinely do think.
So that's what you have to look forward to, huh? Yeah. You and so can't wait to have Stugotz on. And I might just leave the room.
And listen, I mean, you see if you can break the huddle correctly. Yeah. Otherwise, I'm going to send you out of the room. All right, let's do In the Zone. It's brought to you by AutoZone. Drive the new Duralast GT brake pads, proven tough from the tracks to the streets, and sold only at AutoZone. Get in the zone with AutoZone. Who are we putting in the zone today? Let's put in the zone the greatest team of all time.
Yep.
25 years ago today, August 8th, 1992. The original Dream Team, to me the only Dream Team, won the gold medal at the Barcelona Olympics. And for all of us who are old enough to have been around it and to have seen it, to have watched it, to have witnessed it, to have admired it, that is and forever will be the greatest team ever assembled in any sport.
I completely agree. And to put some numbers to it, and just how, again, what was it, Angola, that during the game was taking pictures with the players.
They were asking people to take pictures
of them, get them in shots on the court with these guys. So this is the 25th anniversary of the gold medal game in which the U.S. beat Croatia 117-85. The 32-point margin of victory was the closest game the Dream Team played in the Olympics. They won by an average of right under 44 points a game. It was a joke. But forgetting even that, what it did for basketball globally was you can't even get into. I mean, what it done and where basketball globally has grown and the NBA globally has grown has been incredible.
We have interviewed and asked the question to both David Stern and more recently Adam Silver, is there a way of quantifying it? Is there a way of putting a number, connecting a number to the impact that team had on the global growth of the sport, both within the NBA and outside all over the planet? And the answer is no. There's really, it's incalculable how significant that was. It is, I don't care what anybody says, it's the greatest team ever. And you hear the stories from all those guys about how their practices were epic and legendary. The poker games, whatever card games they were playing at night were for hundreds of thousands of dollars at a time. What would you have given to have been a member of that?
That would have been awful. You know what would have been, I'm surprised we haven't seen is someone writing a book about that one, about that Olympics. That would be something. I guess you really couldn't, unless you were really going to spill some stories. That a lot of that stuff just needs to.
That had to be crazy.
Had to be unbelievable.
Maybe let's call Chuck or one of those guys. I mean, if Scotty, anyone who might want to just jump on here and just share some recollections of that, if you're in the mood to do it. 25 years today, the Dream Team, the greatest team of all time.
Let's again put into context globally. In 1991-92, not a single country outside the United States had at least 3 players born in that country appear in an NBA game. Since that time, the percent of NBA players who appear in a game has risen from 7% all the way to 24% this past season.
A quarter of the league is international.
Incredible.
And there's no, I mean, it's incredible. And that team isn't the only reason it happened, but it is by far the biggest reason.
Guys don't really talk about antiperspirant. Despite that, 91% of Dove Men Plus Care users recommend it. Here's what they said.
It blocks the, perspiration, I think is the fancy word.
It's comfortable. It smells nice. My girl likes the smell.
Well, it's hard.
I think it's quite masculine. My underarms aren't the worst thing at the gym.
It's kind of like the Hoover Dam from my armpits, I guess.
Dove Men Plus Care Antiperspirant. Tough on sweat, not on skin.
Duke tweets, could it maybe be he broke the huddle by just walking away with no enthusiasm? Is that what we've got going on now? Are we literally at that point?
I've seen that in college more than anything else, in high school, not so much in the pros. And again, I've never seen it in 7-on-7 unless the play was just called wrong. Just where you went to the line and basically it wasn't the right play, and so you had to re-huddle to call the right play. So, by gosh, we'll get to the bottom of this. This is what we're getting to the bottom of the Jets. Yeah.
Well, they're already on their way to the bottom. I think there's very little question of that.
Oh, by the way, did you see what starts tonight? Hard Knocks.
Oh, yeah.
Hard Knocks. HBO.
Tampa
Bay Buccaneers. I love that show.
It's always a fun show.
Yes.
I wanted to mention one other thing, too, about the Dream Team. Again, today is 25 years to the day that they won the gold medal. 11 of the 12 players who are on that Dream Team, the original Dream Team, are in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
And then the team is in as a team. But, again, 11 of the 12 are in individually. The only one who isn't is Christian Laettner. And I would say this. Laettner was put on the team because he was a great college player, and they really didn't need any help. I mean,
no.
Shaquille O'Neal was coming out of college that same year and certainly was again, they didn't need him.
No.
They didn't need any of these guys,
no.
but they wanted to put one college player on as sort of an homage to the fact that this
amateur athletes.
First time, well, this was the first time we'd ever sent pros
exactly.
to the Olympics after we lost in '88, and that was the big scandal. But I think Laettner, if you look at some of the players that are in and some of the contributors, some of the ways that different people get into the Basketball Hall of Fame, Laettner's college career, I think he's a borderline Hall of Fame player.
Just on that. And remember, again, it's not the Pro Basketball Hall of Fame.
Correct.
It's the Basketball Hall of Fame. So everything, international ball, NBA, college, high school, it's all taken into account for the Hall of Fame. And Christian Laettner had one of the great college careers. So I'm kind of with you. I mean, maybe they wanted a little more from him, at the top level of the NBA.
He played a long time. He played okay.
Oh, yeah,
he was
played
not
okay.
a great player.
He was not a great player. Given what he did in college, the expectation was obviously a little higher than that. So, obviously that's what has
Christian
held him out of
Laettner
it.
is the Tim Tebow of basketball. That's what he is.
One of the great college players.
One of the great college players of all time who it didn't translate on that similar level to the next level. They're not the only ones. I mean, history is filled with guys
but there are
like
a couple of big names where it didn't. Yeah.
Okay, Mike and Mike, let's do Straight Talk. It's brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, no contracts. Our friends Rachel and company at The Jump have David Griffin, the former general manager of the Cleveland Cavaliers, in as a guest analyst this week. And yesterday he was on there, and of course he's in Cleveland, so he's probably got as good an insight into the situation with Kyrie Irving as anyone you could ask who will give you honest answers right now. And so one of the questions asked to David Griffin was, do you believe Kyrie Irving will be traded before next season begins? Here was his answer.
I think Kyrie's going to end up getting traded. But I think what Ron was saying is really unfair to Kyrie. I don't think this is youth and ignorance. This is a guy who handled this situation exactly like he was supposed to. He went to Dan Gilbert privately, told him that he thought he would be happier somewhere else. The absolute worst thing this guy could have done was pretend to be all in and sink the ship from within. Most guys don't have the courage to do what he did. So that's not youth and ignorance. That's a little bit more courage than people give him credit for.
Listen, there's no doubt he was honest about it, and as David Griffin said, went to Dan Gilbert privately and made his concerns known. I am never going to be, talk bad about anybody that walks into somebody's office and has a conversation with them, and face to face and tells them how they feel. And if Kyrie doesn't want to be there anymore and gets traded. Now, again, Dan Gilbert doesn't have to trade him.
Right.
Then it's a thought, okay, if we say, sorry, we didn't get what we wanted for you, or we want to make another run and you're going to be on the team. And then, then I guess do people cross their fingers and see how Kyrie responds to that? You hope you're a professional and you play and then when your time comes, can you end up getting somewhere else? So we'll see. But interesting thoughts, and again, I'll never begrudge anybody when they walk into someone's office and speak to you face to face.
The one thing I'll say, I don't know that the youthful ignorance, and I didn't see the conversation, so I don't know exactly what the context was. But when you say this was youthful ignorance, were they talking about how he handled it, or the fact that he wants to go off on his own and doesn't want to play with LeBron anymore? Right. I could see someone saying, Kyrie, you don't realize it. This is the best it's ever going to be.
Yeah.
You're still young enough that you'll have a plenty of second act after this is over, but nothing will ever be like playing with this guy.
Yeah.
No. I can see someone trying to make that case.
Yeah, and the fact that you're going to go to the finals every year, you're with LeBron, and take advantage of that because he's going to have a long career post LeBron. LeBron's got a few more years. Kyrie's got a lot of years left, so we'll see.
That's the part. I don't know which part of it they were suggesting he needed to rethink. Straight Talk Wireless, nationwide coverage on America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks. Peter King next. Mike and Mike.
Guys don't really talk about antiperspirant. Despite that, 91% of Dove Men Plus Care users recommend it. Here's what they said.
It blocks the, perspiration, I think is the fancy word.
It's comfortable. It smells nice. My girl likes the smell.
Well, I don't know. It's hard. I think it's quite masculine. My underarms aren't the worst thing at the gym.
It's kind of like the Hoover Dam from my armpits, I guess.
Dove Men Plus Care antiperspirant. Tough on sweat, not on skin.
The City Double Cash Card presents Tips for Talking Sports at the Office. Number 8, be informed.
I'm going to list some random stats that don't really mean anything.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah. I'm nodding, but I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's not working.
Wouldn't it be great if everyone said what they meant? The City Double Cash Card does. It lets you earn double cash back with 1% when you buy and 1% as you pay. The City Double Cash Card. Double means double.
Back and better than ever, Mike and Mike presented by Progressive Insurance. Our guests, like Peter King, will join us in a couple of minutes on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Stu Gotts today, Andy Reid today, Adam Schefter, and a whole lot more. Quickly,
I can't wait for Andy Reid to break down The Bachelorette last night.
I can't wait for Andy Reid to explain how one breaks a huddle incorrectly. But he'll know. But anyway, I got a text from Billis during the break.
Oh, is he mad about something?
He's not mad, but he is. So I made a comparison that he makes a good point.
You made your comparison to
of Leitner to Tebow.
Yeah, more than a few people have
correct. So they're pointing out how much better of a pro Leitner was than Tebow.
Yeah.
And you're 100% right.
Yeah.
And actually, Jay sent me some of the numbers. Leitner scored over 11,000 points, almost 6,000 rebounds in the NBA, was all rookie and made an all-star team with the Hawks, played 13 years. His pro career didn't match his amazing college career, but he's no Tebow. Totally fair. Totally. I didn't mean it that way. So I probably could have come up with and should come up with a better example then, because what I meant by it was Leitner, if you just look at his college career, it's as accomplished as basically anyone.
Well, I wonder if Jay
he'd be there with like Kareem and people like that.
Does Jay believe that he should be in the Hall of Fame?
He does.
He does.
Yes.
He does. Yeah.
He does.
Because I'll say it again.
He said Ralph Sampson got in, and so should Leitner.
Yeah, it is not the Pro Basketball Hall of Fame. So college counts in this one, and Leitner had an incredible college career and
as we said, we both believe he should be in the Hall of Fame based on that.
Yeah.
He had a respectable NBA career.
Right.
It did not match. All I was really trying to say was Tim Tebow had as good a college quarterbacking career as basically there's ever been.
He did. There were a lot of questions of him going into the pros. He did go in the first round, but there were a lot of people that would not have done that, but all it takes is one. I'm trying to think back of what was the book on Leitner coming into the NBA?
He went third. Leitner went behind Shaq and Alonzo Mourning.
Right.
And then Leitner got drafted. And he was what Leitner was in the NBA for a long time was a good player. I mean, that's what he was. He was a good player.
I guess
certainly accomplished far more in the NBA than Tebow did in the NFL. I didn't mean it that. So you're right. If other people are tweeting that in, and Jay, you're absolutely right. That isn't the way I meant it, and I should have come up with a better example. So what is a better example? Of someone.
Of a great college career, and then
I mean, I guess there are a million examples of great college quarterbacks who turned out to be decent NFL quarterbacks, right? That's what Leitner
think
was.
of some Heisman Trophy winning quarterbacks who went on to have pedigrean careers.
The list is endless, right? I mean, the list of that is endless. So, fair enough. I will what's the word? I concede the point that was not the right example to make. All I was trying to say is Leitner is the only member of the original Dream Team not inducted into the Hall of Fame as an individual. And I think based upon his college career, he probably could get it.
I think he's got a pretty good resume to be in.
And for those of you who think we're embellishing it, again, no one projected him to become what Alcindor became as a collegiate or Walton. These are the greatest college players of all time.
Yeah.
Alcindor, Walton, those are the greatest collegians of all time. Leitner made the Final Four every year he was in college. He won 2 national championships as overwhelmingly the best player on those 2 teams.
Absolutely.
You look at the numbers. You look at the game against the game he played against Kentucky. People remember the shot, but it's one of the he didn't miss a shot the entire game from the field or from the foul line. He was one of the great collegians of all time. That's really the point.
It is surprising to me. I actually now I want to delve into it for voters for that and try and understand why he isn't in, why he hasn't been voted in. The thought process that he didn't do enough in the NBA when it's not, again, not the Pro Basketball Hall of Fame. What a college career.
We need to look up, because there are a lot of different people. There are international basketball people in the Hall of Fame. There are people from the women's game who are in the Hall of Fame, and any number of different areas outside of the NBA. How many, if any, members of the Hall of Fame were great male collegiate basketball players who didn't have great NBA careers?
Right.
That's the thing I don't know.
I don't know that either, but since it's open to all basketball players, that should weigh pretty heavily when you had the career that he had in college.
Yeah, I need to see who else is in there. I've been to the Hall of Fame, but I haven't taken notice of that in particular. So that was really what I meant by that. So if people were responding to that, again, Jay immediately jumped in there and made the comparison to Ralph Sampson. Now, Sampson, again, great collegian, not nearly as accomplished a collegian as Leitner, or at least his teams weren't as good. I perceive them, and again, I don't have any of these numbers in front of me, I perceive him to have had a better NBA career than Leitner did. But maybe I'm wrong. I mean, he was on that team when he and Elijah Wan played together that made the finals, and he was projected to be so much better.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I was trying to even. I know Leitner went third, but my projection that when you made the Tebow comparison as well, the projection going into the NFL, I would imagine Leitner was projected to do more in the NBA than Tebow was in the NFL.
All right, let's do fill in the blank with us, Mike and Mike here. We'll try and get Peter King coming up for you shortly here, and we'll find out what, if anything, what exactly it is he meant by an inability to break the huddle, which is one of the stories that he's got. But let's do fill in the blank right now. Go around the world of sports. It's brought to you by Mahindra Tractors and Utility Vehicles. Mahindra USA, the world's #1 selling tractor. Filling in the blank, Golick, first off, Brock Osweiler will start the first preseason game for the Browns. That was announced yesterday. But blank will start the first regular season game for Cleveland.
And I had said Cody Kessler would be the starter a while ago. The word was Deshaun, what I'm in talking to people, and who obviously I still, being from Cleveland, know that Deshaun Kaiser was kind of making a rise, and then the last scrimmage they had, he kind of played like a rookie. Kessler didn't play all that well, and Brock did. So, again, this is the first preseason game, the first start. The starters, all depending on the coach and the team, depending on how long. Some games the starters will be in for one series. Other they may be in for longer. I'll be interested to see, because when you're in a quarterback competition, maybe you're going to leave the starters in a little bit longer in this one. Am I ready to change it to Brock Osweiler? Maybe I am, or maybe for a while I'll still stick with Cody Kessler, since I said that we're not even into preseason yet. So I'll say that.
But you don't think it'll be Kaiser?
No, I don't think it'll be Kaiser.
Don't you think they want it to be, like, in a perfect world? Wouldn't you like to be if you're them?
No. I think they would like it to be someone else, and then possibly and see where they go, which a lot of people don't think it's going to be somewhere, and then Kaiser at some point this year take over.
Next, Greg Schiano saying Ohio State's defensive line is better than the NFL defensive lines he has is blank.
The thing to say when you're coaching in college now. There's no way that's true. So I think he's at Ohio State now. That's where he's coaching, and he's talking about people he's coaching. And listen, Ohio State has unbelievably talented players that go into the NFL every year. We see a number of them going into the NFL. Joey Bosa, one of those. Joey Bosa's younger brother is a D lineman at Ohio State now. But their D line isn't better than Tampa Bay's.
Not man for man now, you know what I mean? Like, I wasn't in the conversation when he was having it. And the quote is, "It is, and that's no joke." But he has to mean, because he coached in the NFL again. He coached Gerald McCoy and a bunch of other really good players. Yeah. He has to mean, relative to our level. Like, I think our D-line can be more dominating than my D-line was in Tampa. I mean, he has to mean something.
For those
like
that are taking it at face value, I would completely
that would be like one of these,
that.
Alabama could beat the Jets, which actually this year they probably could. Next, the most intriguing head coach in college football this season is blank.
Well, I mean, I'm going to, there's a number from Mike Gundy to Brian Kelly, Jim Harbaugh, Lincoln Riley, Tom Herman, Lane Kiffin, Ed Orgeron.
Dabo Swinney, Mark D'Antonio, and Jimbo Fisher. That was the top 10 according to Pat Forty.
Right.
And notice, not in that list is Nick Saban. He had him 13th. And that's why this got a lot of attention.
Well, I mean, I think I would naturally lean toward Brian Kelly and Notre Dame. They had a bad year last year. They have a new quarterback this year, and Brandon Wimbush. So while everybody likes him, he still hasn't played it down in college football. So luckily there is some veteran leadership around him. It's my school. coming off a bad year. So that
is he on the hot seat? Would you describe Brian Kelly as being
Notre
on the hot
Dame?
seat? No question,
the
right?
first person that knows he's on the hot seat is Brian Kelly. I don't think that's talking out of school at all. Yeah, he understands what's going on there.
Let me do one more, and then we're going to get Peter King in, I'm told. But what do you think of this one? I like this. The Cavaliers using Kyrie Irving's name to promote their new jerseys is blank. They officially unveiled their new uniforms on Monday, and highlights of Kyrie Irving were used to introduce their new, quote, coat of armor, their new jersey. So they're using Kyrie to promote their new jersey is blank.
A ploy?
I don't think so. I think it's absolutely fine. He's a member of their team. All that has happened is he has gone to the owner, from what we understand, and said he would like to be traded. Now, I mean, he's still a member of their team. If they want to use his likeness, he's one of the biggest stars in the world. He's under contract. If they want to use his likeness to sell their team.
If this decision was made, I don't know when these decisions are made, but if this decision was made after he requested a trade, you don't think there's anything involved in it that said, let's show him a little love here. Everybody would imagine it would be LeBron being used. Let's use Kyrie. You don't think that was the thought process at all?
Well, I mean, I don't know that he's the only one being used. My point is, I don't think you all of a sudden have to stop using his likeness or anything like that because he has requested
I didn't
a trade.
say that, but you don't think it was a thought process at all?
A ploy to do what?
To show him some love, to say, hey, we think you're, one of the, everything isn't about LeBron. Let's put you out front and center on this. To think that wasn't involved at all? Come on.
Maybe, but I guess what I would say is that I interpreted the question to mean that people they shouldn't be doing that because they're probably going to trade him.
No. I'm looking at it from the reason that it was done. There was more than just happenstance that it happened to be Kyrie. That it's a way to say, hey, you're right there with LeBron, the top guy, and you're one of our guys.
Maybe. It could be. All right, Mike and Mike, that's Fill in the Blankets, brought to you by Mahindra Tractors and Utility Vehicles. Meanwhile, back to football we go, where, as I said, it sort of feels like those last-minute preparations before the dinner party when you got to, get rid of any of the trash that's in the living room or whatever it is, because these games start coming up this weekend. And Peter King from the MMQB.com is ready to roll with us. He joins us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line, taking a few minutes from his tour of NFL training camps and different variety of beers that, if you follow him on Twitter, he likes to try everywhere he goes. How are you, Peter?
That.
Doing well, guys. How about you?
That's where Peter and we need to get together and hang out just for beer taste.
Here's the thing. Here's why I'm not doing so well. All right, your MMQB.com ruined my day yesterday as I read this note here that suggested that Christian Hackenberg, who I guess in theory remains possibly the future at quarterback for the New York Jets, although that feels like it's disintegrating, was sent back to the huddle for breaking the huddle incorrectly and then sent off the field during practice for breaking the huddle incorrectly a second time. And, Peter, here's the thing. I've been covering this sport for 25 years. I don't even know what that means. How do you break a huddle incorrectly so badly that they send you off the field?
I don't know, because that was Tim Rohan of our staff was at Jets camp, and what I did was I asked the three people who were on our eastern swing of our training camp tour to each give me a note from something they saw during the week. And so Rohan thought, how crazy is it that Christian Hackenberg gets banished from the play and gets sort of sent away because he can't break the huddle correctly. And look, I mean, this is probably a blip on the radar screen, but it sure was a weird little note. And look, Hackenberg's going to get his shot. He's going to get his shot, and I don't know how long he's going to get for his shot, but it didn't seem like a good sign to me.
We got to call Rohan. I got to find out what this means.
Listen, I'm with you, because as I said, in team periods, I've seen people have to go back to the huddle if there's not breaking it with enthusiasm or whatever. This is 7-on-7, so I have no idea. So maybe we'll try and get a hold of Tim. And,
let's call Tim and find out what that is. Meanwhile, obviously, the really big quarterback news around the sport, Peter, is Jay Cutler coming out of retirement and signing with the Miami Dolphins and all that goes into that. What's your reaction?
I think it's very logical. I mean, I was kind of chortling when people were saying that they should have signed Kaepernick instead of Jay Cutler. I mean, Jay Cutler probably had his best year in the NFL in 2015, all in all, under Adam Gase. He was disciplined. He didn't make mistakes. He didn't make the dumb throws that so often that we've seen him make. And so, to me, so often we look at things and try to find a deeper meaning. This was not a very difficult thing to understand. Adam Gase has the trust of Jay Cutler, and he thinks that if everything goes well this year, this 1 year, because this is all it is, this 1 year, if everything goes well, then he thinks that they can still be a strong playoff contender with a good quarterback. And just remember one thing. Last year, when the Miami Dolphins were called 50% runs or more during the game, and they had Jay Ajayi, obviously. When they did that, they were 7-0. And so people should not look at this and say, Cutler's going to come in and throw the ball 500 times and it's going to be bombs away. I think this was the best quarterback for this team at this time, but it doesn't mean that they're going to be an unbalanced team.
No, not by any stretch. I completely agree that they're going to have that running game. Unfortunately, they lose the left guard in Larson with the torn bicep. As far as there's no. A lot of people like Matt Moore. I mean, so you don't think there's any divide in that locker room, right? I mean, this has to be Gase brought, just as he said, I didn't bring in Cutler to stand on the sideline, so Cutler's not going to stand on the sideline. So anything with Matt Moore, anything with those that think Colin Kaepernick should have gotten the chance there, any other kind of turmoil with this?
If they signed Kaepernick, then Matt Moore would have been the starter, because it would have taken a while, and Matt Moore would have played until he was ineffective, which could have been 2 games. But look, it's Cutler, because Cutler knows this offense to a T. Obviously, Kaepernick would have, or Ponder, or anybody would have had to come in and learn this offense. So this is, if you've got Matt Moore as your starter and you bring in somebody else. The reason why, in my opinion, why it was not even a contest is that they want Matt Moore to be the backup. He had either 1 or 2 concussions last year, and who knows how long he can last. So whoever you bring in, you have to feel that that person is going to play a lot this year. And to Adam Gase, Jay Cutler is a guy who, if he had a draft of quarterbacks right now, at this date, right now, Jay Cutler would be high on the list of anybody in football, because the mental part of it is already taken care of. He knows the offense.
Mike and Mike, presented by Progressive Insurance. Peter King is with us. One more on that, because everyone took a lot of note of the fact that Ryan Tannehill, basically at the end of this season, if the Dolphins want to, they could walk away from him with almost no financial obligation and almost no financial penalty. So knowing that, how do you read the future of Tannehill in Miami?
I think it all depends on how Cutler plays, and really, I mean, it'll be a year and a quarter since Tannehill played, and the Dolphins are all we are all in on Tannehill. Tannehill's future is solid. Well, it's easy to say that now, and that's what you're going to say, because you do like Ryan Tannehill, but the future is unknown in Miami. I still don't think that it was absolutely without question that they were going to keep Tannehill long term. He really hasn't proven it yet. And so I don't doubt necessarily that he'll be back for 2018 and he'll be back as the quarterback, but I'm still not sure he's the long-term quarterback in Miami.
A place where there's no quarterback issues at all is in Green Bay, with Aaron Rodgers going to turn 34 in December in his 13th year, played 13 years in the league. I know you got to hang out with him for a bit. What was the biggest takeaway you had from that meeting?
Most of the time, Mike, when I go in and talk to players, I always ask this one question to most of the guys who I see, who are very prominent players. What did you do this off season to get better? What's the thing that you feel made you a better player in the last few months? And he said, basically, the fact that I now have a diet that I feel that I'm putting. He sounds like Brady. He has a diet that he feels like he's putting perfect stuff into his body, perfect fuel, and he is doing a lot of yoga, doing a lot of stretching, and his exercise regimen is really ramped up. And he said, I feel physically just like I did when I was 23 years old. And that's why he said to me, I think, I want to play another 7, 8, 9, 10 years. And I think these guys are all going to the school of Tom Brady University and looking at what he's doing and basically saying, if I take care of myself, I can throw 35 touchdowns and 5 interceptions when I'm 39 years old too. And so I look at it with Rodgers like this is his lifestyle. He likes it anyway, and he's happy with it. He's in a nice, quiet spot in Green Bay. So this works for him, and good for him.
Final thing for you, Peter. We were talking about this yesterday. We always love the Hall of Fame induction stuff, and you know the inside of that. Next year's class, you got 3 new eligibles who would all feel like surefire Hall of Famers to us, and that would be Ray Lewis, Brian Urlacher, and Randy Moss. But, of course, Lewis and Urlacher played the same position, and Randy Moss played the same position as Terrell Owens, who's still on the outside waiting. So I know we're still a year away from, or at this point, I guess 6 months away from those decisions getting made. But how would you sort of read the tea leaves and how some of that might shake out?
I think the next 2 or 3 years, there's really a lot of premier players who are going to be first-year eligibles, and it just makes it all the more harder. And it makes it all the more harder, too, when Terrell Davis gets in after having 3 superb years and 1 very good year and having incredible playoff success. So I think it's going to be really hard. I think that of those guys you mentioned, Ray Lewis would be number 1 on the list. He'd be number 1 on my list. And then, Randy Moss, even though he had the blips on his screen in his career, like in Oakland, I just think his career is too dominant to not make it. That would just be how I would read it. And then, obviously Urlacher would be number 3 on that list. I don't know that he's an absolute gimme, but I think he's got a fantastic case. And and after that, there are a lot of good players. It's not just Terrell Owens, although, as I've said many times, I'm on the Terrell Owens. I vote for him, and I just think that he's going to get in one of these years, one of these days, and it's a 20-minute debate. But in essence, I think there are questions about what he was like as a teammate, and he dropped a lot of footballs, and that is summing up probably the first thing is what stands in his way more than anything else. But I believe now, after talking to a lot of people on the committee and listening to a lot of people on the committee, that eventually he's going to get in.
He's Peter King, all over training camps and keeping us informed, and always fun. Thanks, Peter. See you
Peter.
soon. That's Peter King with us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance line, taking synthetic motor oil performance to a whole new level. Make the switch to Pennzoil Synthetics today. I do want to talk to Tim Rohan. I want to find out exactly what it means.
You're on a mission here.
What does it mean? I've never heard that. We're like seeking out new lows now. We can't break the huddle. What the heck is going on around here? I need to find out what it means.
Hey everyone, Mike Golick here. Support for the Mike and Mike podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you're confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you that same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. Rocket Mortgage is simple, allowing you to fully understand all the details and be confident you're getting the right mortgage for you. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Mikes. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLS, consumeraccess.org number 3030. Well, Greeny, we're halfway through another baseball season, and we're really seeing some players who stand out as winners.
Kind of like business travelers who win at business by staying at La Quinta Inns and Suites.
That's because you can put your La Quinta Returns loyalty points to work on the spot with instant free nights.
Just drive up with no reservation and instantly redeem points for a free night that same night simply by using the La Quinta app.
It's like hitting a grand slam.
With an app instead of a bat.
Well played.
Prepare to win at business by learning more about instant free nights and check out the summer rates at LQ.com. It's a day where we're talking about anniversaries, the 25th anniversary of the Olympic gold for the Dream Team. Last night was the 10th anniversary of Bonds breaking the all-time home run record. And you know what's remarkable is how little attention was paid to that. I didn't even realize it was the anniversary till late in the day. I saw some stories about it. So almost nothing was said or remembered about that. But either way, it does make you think. And he's talking, there was a good interview with him that I was reading about how he really regrets not getting one more season because he's positive he could have gotten to 800 home runs. Right. Why wouldn't he have? But you look at a guy like Bryce Harper. Do you think he will break the all-time home run record? He's not yet 25. He has 150 home runs.
It's a little early to tell. I mean, him and Trout's only 26, you know. So, I mean, I guess you could say either one of those guys, right? I mean, but, man.
You look at Harper and the power numbers, and you figure as he continues to get bigger and strong. I don't even know. I mean,
a lot of it is on how many games they missed. Times on the DL, serious injuries. If you can avoid that, they both, had issues here and there that have, Trout just recently coming off the thumb and missing time. So that's going to play a ton into it. And a lot of that, is luck of the draw as well, staying healthy. And then not only staying healthy, but obviously the production that you have to have year after year after year, not just in your 5th, 6th, 7th year, but in your 12th, 13th, 14th year, 15th year to try and get this thing done. So that's so tough to project. I remember what we kept saying when Barry Bonds broke the record and nobody was happy about it. Everybody said, oh, my God, A-Rod could save the day, by breaking that record. And then that all, went to hell in a handbasket as well. So I'm sure, I would imagine baseball people would love to see a guy like Mike Trout or Bryce Harper. He has with some of the old time players, maybe people have a bit of an issue with him,
but not the same one that we had with A-Rod.
Exactly right. So I think that's what maybe some people down the road would want to see.
So Trout is at 191 home runs. Harper is at an even 150 home runs. Trout is just turned 26 yesterday.
Yeah.
And Harper's not yet 25.
Not yet 25, yeah.
So, and look, here we are. We were just talking about players playing older. Aaron Rodgers taking care of his body, wants to play till he's 40. Brady is playing at 40. If these guys are still in that kind of shape, Hank Aaron was hitting home runs into his 40s.
Yeah, it was.
So we'll wait and see. All right, a lot of Twitter reaction out here to a variety of different things. We'll come back to it. But today is a very special day at ESPN. Today
awesome.
Is the 8th of August, so it's 8/8. And today, our network ESPNU has been rebranded The Ocho. Today, ESPNU is The Ocho, which if you don't know what The Ocho comes from, then you really don't deserve to be in the conversation. That soundbite doesn't work. But I just played for you. If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
Yeah.
So this, of course, is from the legendary comedy Dodgeball,
which was on ESPN The Ocho, which is, I listen, I thought it was, I love the movie, loved ESPN The Ocho, and now we're doing ESPN The Ocho. It's just fantastic. And the events they're showing on ESPN 8, The Ocho, this is even better. And I can't wait to watch some of these. It's already started. Or is it tonight? Does it start tonight at midnight, or was it last night at midnight?
No, it's running right now.
It already started. I'm sorry. Started at midnight. That's right, because today is the 8th. You have American Disc Golf Championship, which is...
So that's Frolf. That's Frisbee golf.
Frisbee golf.
As Seinfeld once called it, it's Frolf. Go ahead. So
there we go.
Frolf.
So that's, a stake in the ground, and you're kind of throwing to that. And
it's Frisbee golf
with a Frisbee. We're also showing Roller Derby Championship. Who hasn't watched Roller Derby?
That'd be guy that loved the roller
love
derby.
roller. I watched it years ago, the old the Thunderbirds and the T-Birds and the whole deal. And how about this? Sky Zone Ultimate Trampoline Dodgeball.
That was on at 4 a.m. I actually would have liked to have watched that.
I can't imagine the injuries that could happen in that. You're playing dodgeball on trampolines.
I love it. I mean,
holy
basically,
smokes.
It is essentially a second grade birthday party.
Yes,
it is.
It is birthday party
places.
You're right.
Yeah. That's every single birthday party that my kids went to when they were in second grade. That's what they did. They jumped on trampolines and they played dodgeball.
Cannot believe the ankle I would snap.
Next.
Firefighters World Challenge.
I'm curious to know exactly what that is. Are they doing?
Well, they're doing like
events?
when you do firefighting, like tests and stuff. Like they'll climb a 5-story tower, they'll drag hoses, rescue a life-size 175-pound victim, all while wearing full gear.
Okay.
So
I like that. I like it.
Okay, here's where some things get interesting. Kabaddi World Cup Final.
It's a contact team sport that originated in India involving 2 teams and a unique rule. The goal is for each team's raider to tag as many of the opposing team's players as possible and return to his or her home half, all while taking just a single breath. How exactly are they?
I mean, if you learn the art of short breaths, you could really get away with it. How do they tell you have a single breath?
If the raider is tackled and prevented from returning, the opposing team gets the point. I see it. I can see doing this where you're not allowed to take any breaths. But how exactly are they monitoring one breath?
One breath.
I mean, are they going instant replay on this thing? I find that crazy.
That's an interesting one.
That's a sport I'm not as interested in.
Okay, Championship of Bags, which is basically, it's a cornhole.
It's cornhole. I've never heard it called bags.
I have. I've heard it called bags and cornhole. You see it at every tailgate out there. And then you have the Moxie Games.
It's an uncanny, new, and amazing event, which combines a variety of sports into one, such as dodgeball and juggling, martial arts and volleyball, table tennis, and soccer.
I really need to see that because you just threw out 5 or 6 sports.
Well, you can see it tonight, 5 o'clock Eastern Time on ESPN 8, The Ocho. It's going to be on. You can see exactly what it looks like.
And then U.S. Open Ultimate Championship, a self-officiating competition, 2 teams on a field similar to a football field. Basically, it's football frisbee, right? But the object
it's ultimate frisbee.
Yeah, it's ultimate frisbee.
Yeah. It's frisbee football.
Frisbee football. So, yeah, frisbee golf, frisbee football.
Of all of these,
cornhole.
Which one would you be best at?
Best at. The
which
one I want to
be
see.
The best at competing at?
The one I want to see is trampoline dodgeball, without question.
Right.
I don't.
Which one would you be best at? Can you roller skate? Because if you can roller skate, you could be pretty good at roller derby.
No, I can't.
I can't roller skate particularly well myself.
I would like to be able to.
I'm not doing the kabaddi one. I'm not doing anything with just a single breath.
I don't understand that, and I need to see the Moxie Games to see if I could deal with that.
I feel like I'd be best at bags.
I got
the build for it.
That's true.
Yeah,
and you don't need any athletic ability
exactly
at all. I think I could do either of the frisbee things. I can throw a frisbee
ultimate
pretty
frisbee,
well.
No, but there's a lot of running, and the ultimate frisbee is that's a tough sport because it's endless running.
Maybe I'll do the frisbee golf then.
Yeah, you can do frisbee golf. That's
I do frisbee golf way better than.
I take it back. That's the one I want to be in. I want to be in the American Disc Golf Championship.
I can throw a frisbee because what's that drinking game you young kids? I played it at Jake's bachelor party. Can jam. Can jam with a frisbee. I was great at it. I took all those young kids at Jake's bachelor party in New Orleans to the woodshed. To the woodshed, I took them all in this can jam game.
And afterwards, you looked up at them and you said, so enjoy it all day long today. It's ESPN 8, The Ocho, on what is otherwise known as ESPNU. All right, we got Rohan.
Yeah, we do.
He's going to join us, and he's going to explain to us exactly what it means not to be able to break a huddle.
Guys don't really talk about antiperspirant. Despite that, 91% of Dove Men Plus Care users recommend it. Here's what they said.
It blocks the, perspiration, I think is the fancy word.
It's comfortable. It smells nice. My girl likes the smell.
Well, I don't know. It's hard. I think it's quite masculine. My underarms aren't the worst thing at the gym.
It's kind of like the Hoover Dam from my armpits, I guess.
Dove Men Plus Care antiperspirant. Tough on sweat, not on skin.
All right, some of the Twitter reaction. Kent tweets, reasons for re-huddling in 7-on-7. Incorrect play call. Quarterback unable to get his receivers lined up. Loose huddle with no enthusiasm. Yasha Jakubowicz. Was that Jack Jakubowicz?
Why you even try?
I don't even know.
Yeah.
Tweets, maybe breaking the huddle incorrectly is code for a bad attitude in practice since it's related to coach direction.
What?
I don't know. One way or the other, we now have the man who wrote it, so we can figure this out. We had Peter King on a little while ago, and he said that Tim Rohan of the MMQB is the one who sent in the note for their column, which talked about how Christian Hackenberg was sent off the field for twice breaking the huddle incorrectly in a 7-on-7 drill. As he approached the line of scrimmage, a coach ordered him to re-huddle. When he broke the huddle again in the wrong fashion for a second time, he was ordered off the field. We don't even know what that means.
No, especially, again, 7-on-7. This isn't full team, or I have seen offensive huddles have to re-huddle when not breaking, and that usually at times isn't on the quarterback. It could be on others for not running to the line or whatever. This is 7-on-7.
So Tim Rohan of the MMQB.com, good enough to join us and explain it. Tim, good morning. Mike and Mike here. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me, guys.
It's our pleasure. Now, you ruined my whole day yesterday. What exactly happened here? How do you break the huddle incorrectly?
Well, I didn't get a chance to talk to Hackenberg. He wasn't available for comment that day. But I talked to Matt Forte, and he was just saying that the cadence, it sounded like the cadence wasn't right. I don't know if the timing was off or, they get the play, they go in the huddle, they huddle up, they're talking about it, and then apparently they didn't break it in the right way. Forte was talking about, you have to come to the line with a certain, type of attitude. And, I didn't get a chance to talk to the coaches, and it's just 7-on-7, so it's not even all 11 guys on the field. So, like you said, like I wrote, they were huddling up, they were going to the line of scrimmage, and coaches ordered them to re-huddle. John Morton, the offensive coordinator, went over and stood next to Hackenberg in the huddle. And they were talking for, 30 seconds, him in the huddle with Hackenberg. And then when they broke the huddle again, coaches got mad, yelled, told Hackenberg to, his turn was over. So they didn't throw him off the field. It was just, okay, your turn's over. Petty went in, McCown went in, and then Hackenberg got another shot. And I actually added in that note, it wasn't all bad. So the next time Hackenberg got on the field, he broke the huddle correctly. He stepped up and he threw a 20-yard pass, probably, the most impressive pass the Jets had all day. And after that, McCown runs up, fist bumps Hackenberg and slaps him hard on the butt. So, he showed a little resilience kind of coming back there. But yeah, it was, for a little bit there was kind of an embarrassing moment.
You got to wonder if the fist pump was for breaking the huddle correctly or the good throw. I can't believe I'm going to continue asking and break this thing down, but I'm going to anyway against my better judgment. When they had to return to the huddle and then his time was over, did he get all the way to the line of scrimmage before they were sent back, or was it while they were walking to the line? That would help me a little bit in understanding why. How far into the possibility of actually starting a play did they get before he was sent back to the huddle?
No, you're exactly right. They didn't even get to the line. They took a few steps out of the huddle and from one of the coaches, the group. So he was called back before they even got to the line. So it was clearly they're not clapping at the same time, or I don't know. You would know better than I what kind of cadence you need to break the huddle, but it was clearly a breaking huddle issue.
So basically what you're saying is if they made it to the line of scrimmage, it was already an improvement. It's a win. If they actually physically get to the line of scrimmage, that's a win.
Yeah. Well, I want to stress there was just one day, so I don't know, but yeah, I mean, it wasn't a good look.
Okay. Tim, thank you for clearing this up because, it ruined pretty much my entire day yesterday, and now at least we have some context to it. So we appreciate it very much. We enjoy your work, and we'll talk to you again. Thanks, Tim.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
All right, so if you didn't get to the line, that means it really, I don't think, was more of a play thing of when he getting to the line and not doing something correctly. It obviously had to do with just how they broke the huddle. And he's the quarterback. He runs the huddle, so it's on him.
So whether it's a cadence thing or whether it's an attitude thing or whether it's a timing thing or whatever thing it is, basically
he didn't do it.
There was great enthusiasm when they actually made it to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, and then he threw a 20-yard dart. Again, I don't know if the fist pump from McCown was for breaking the huddle correctly or the pass.
Well, and then the really and then we'll make this the end of the conversation related to this, but the really terrible news is yesterday, they lose by far their best offensive player for the season, Quincy Enunwa, who was the only accomplished receiver on the team and is actually a pretty good player. And anyone who plays fantasy knows he's put up some pretty good numbers and really appeared now to be the guy with the absence of Marshall and Decker and everything else. He's out for the year with a neck. So they really could have the worst offense in the NFL.
I wonder what's worse in your mind. Christian Hackenberg can't break a huddle, or the Bachelorette Rachel actually chose someone she didn't like as much as someone else.
Well, I don't really understand the entire way that thing played out. You're basically saying she was only choosing someone who was willing to marry her?
Basically.
That was her bottom line.
The guy she wanted wasn't ready to get married after, just 3 months of hanging out, wanted to spend a little more time together. She wanted to put a ring on it, and so she went with another guy.
I think the Hackenberg thing is worse.
You think?
I think so. I think if she was able to break the huddle, then she's one up on us.